You're not quiet. You talk. You share. You tell people how your day went, what's bothering you, what you think. So why do you walk away from so many conversations feeling like nothing you said actually landed? Think about the last time you opened up to someone. You said something that mattered to you, and they nodded. Maybe they said, "Yeah, totally." Maybe they were already talking about themselves before you finished. Nothing rude happened. Nobody ignored you, and yet you walked away feeling weirdly emptier than before you said anything. Here's what makes this so hard to explain. Feeling unheard isn't the same as being alone. You can be surrounded by people, in a group chat that never goes quiet, at a dinner table full of family, and still feel like you're talking through glass. They can hear the words. They're just not catching the thing underneath them, because being heard was never about volume. It's about being received. There's a difference between someone hearing what you said and someone actually taking it in, holding it for a second, and letting it change the look on their face. Most people do the first one. Almost nobody does the second. And after enough conversations like that, you start doing something quietly. You start editing yourself down. You stop sharing the real thing and start sharing the summary. Because if the full version wasn't going to land anyway, why hand it over? So you shrink what you say to match how much you expect to be received. And the smaller you make it, the less heard you feel, which makes you shrink it more. It's a loop, and almost nobody notices they're in it. Think about it like a radio. You can be broadcasting on a frequency, loud and clear, putting out a real signal. But if nobody's tuned in to that exact station, it doesn't matter how strong you're transmitting. It just disappears into the air. And sometimes it's worse than nobody listening. Sometimes everybody's transmitting at once. You're making your point while they're already loading up theirs, both of you just waiting for the other to stop making noise. Two people talking past each other, both convinced they're the one not being heard. Nobody receiving anything, both just getting louder, hoping volume finally does what listening was supposed to. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most people aren't refusing to hear you. They're just full. Everybody's walking around already at capacity. Their own stress, their own noise, their own unheard feelings they never got to put down. So when you hand them something real, it's not that they don't care. It's that there's no room for it to land. They catch the words, because words are easy. The weight underneath them takes space most people just don't have. And that's a hard thing to sit with, because it means the problem usually wasn't you, and it usually wasn't even them. It was two people starving for the same thing, neither one with anything left to give the other. And that's when not being heard stops being quiet and starts costing you. You told someone, clearly, out loud, the one thing you couldn't stand, the line you didn't want crossed. You spelled it out so there'd be no confusion. And months later, they did the exact thing you told them you hated. And when you got upset, they looked at you confused, like it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. You said it. You remember saying it. They just filed it under noise instead of something that mattered. Then they say, being unheard isn't harmless. It quietly turns into every conflict you saw coming that could have been prevented. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Sometimes the person who feels the most unheard is the one who listens to everyone else the best. You remember what people told you. You ask the follow-up question. You never cross the line they drew just because you actually heard them. You give people the exact thing you've been starving for, and then go home and wonder why it never comes back around. But the question was never, why doesn't anyone listen to me? It's quieter than that. It's, when did I decide my full self was too much to hand to people? Because somewhere along the way, you learned to make yourself smaller to fit the amount of attention you expected to get. You don't have to spend your life being the summary of who you are just because the full version kept going unheard. The people who caught only the summary weren't proof you were too much. They just weren't the ones tuned in. And the day someone finally receives the whole thing, holds it, and doesn't hand it back smaller, you'll realize you were never hard to hear. And hey, before you go, you've been heard here. Every word. I'll see you in the next one.